What up? Hello, welcome to another day of quarantine with Christine. This is Tuesday, 5 p.m. PST. I'm very excited and glad to be here with you today. Hope that you have been having a good day. The state of Arizona, where I live, went into shelter in place today, and so it's been a little bit crazy trying to figure out just the next step of going even more like hermity, you know? And so this is the second to last show, whatever this is, for a while. Because, there's a lot of content out there that's great, and I need a break. But I'm very excited tonight. We get to talk to probably like the coolest person that's ever lived, and so I'm going to invite him in. His name is YB, and so I'll let him introduce himself to you. Let's go! What's up?
Yo, what's up? What's up?
Are you like in like a music video right now? Like what's happening?
No, this is my home studio.
Yo, that's so cool.
Yes.
Okay, tell everybody who you are, what you do, all that good stuff.
Okay, so my name is YB. I'm a Christian artist, dad, been married for 5 years. Yeah, speak a little bit. So yeah.
Yeah, you do. You're awesome at it. Uh, we got to meet in Ohio last year, and look at all your fans are just popping in.
All the soldiers in there.
They know what's up. Uh, Julio's a sequel idea, Christine out of quarantine. Yeah, well, we don't know when that's gonna be, so. So I just want like every day since my quarantine started, I've been talking to people that are, that I really think are amazing and about COVID-19 specifically. So for you, can you tell us about like how has the coronavirus impacted your life and your family?
Yeah, of course. Well, the coronavirus has impacted my schedule. Like I'm nowhere near as busy. But
Sure.
overall, man, like our family time has been through the roof. Like
Mm-hmm.
we had maybe 4 or 5 family meals like back to back. And some people might say, "Oh, well, that's nothing." But when you're touring, like when I come home Sunday, my wife is off. Like she does nails, so
Yeah,
that works from Monday to Saturday. So now it's like we get to wake up and either we do breakfast or whatever the case may be. So that has been a like good on one side, but just in as far as ministry, this is a whole new terrain we're in. Like this is
absolutely. Yeah. Can you talk about like were you like going on tour and your tour got canceled or were you about to go on tour?
I
How
was
how was
on
that?
tour. Yeah, I was
You were-
on tour and
Dang.
just got the calls of maybe 5 or 6 dates, probably more, just getting canceled, canceled, canceled.
Yeah. Has that been discouraging or have you felt like man, full of faith, God's got this? Like where are you
So
at emotionally there?
to be honest, man, just in my quiet times prior to all of this happening, God was already speaking and He was already saying stuff. But of course, when He was telling Noah to build the boat, it wasn't making any sense then. So now that we're here, and it's like, oh, so this is what this was. So I wouldn't say I was prepared for it, but I was not hit as hard as I could have been.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Can you tell everyone like what state do you live in?
So I'm in Arkansas now.
Okay. Have you guys gone into shelter in place already or
No, thank God. I mean, good and bad, but not yet.
right.
Just a complete lockdown would be crazy.
Yeah, we just got into shelter in place today in Arizona. So,
Oh man.
man, I feel like everyone's gonna get it
Yeah.
relatively soon. But
Yeah, I was talking to
uh,
my friends and they're saying that that's kind of the scenario.
yeah. So family time has been great, but obviously, like work wise, it's totally shifting.
Yeah.
All that stuff. Um, One of the things I want to talk with you about, because you're like incredible with all of your social media and online presence, but like obviously with the coronavirus and everyone being trapped in their houses, there's been like a massive blow up on the internet of people
Yeah.
creating things, releasing things. Like I never went on Instagram Live till I've been trapped in my house. And so can you were already creating amazing content regularly before though, so has COVID-19 changed any of the content you've created or how you've delivered it? And if it has, how?
So it has not changed the way I create content. Like I try to give my soldiers, this is our movement, a piece of me. So I haven't
Yeah.
changed. I still do vlogs and stuff like that. But COVID-19 has given me an opportunity to dive into some of the things that I've been wanting to do. Like we launched a podcast 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So we got that rolling. But it also caused me to look at the landscape. Like I see how busy it is. And if I want to continue to put out quality, I'm not going to just jump into busyness just because there's a lot of traffic. Like I would rather
Yeah.
getting to my destination and getting there effectively versus just, well, I'm just gonna go, and if I end up at a cool destination, like I don't like that, so I'm good.
Yeah. That's good. Um, can you talk about how do you like manage living in the tension of providing good content, which like with any I feel like, and maybe push back on this if you disagree, but I feel like anything that anyone puts on the internet, there's a bit of it that's self-centered, right? Like it kind of has to be like it's about you, like it's about me. I think I read somewhere once there was like there's no post on the internet that's not a bit narcissistic.
Yeah.
and I'm like, yeah, like I think that, I mean, that makes everyone uncomfortable, but I think there's also truth to that. So like how do you manage living the tension of providing good content and knowing that, you know, some of it's kind of about you, and then also being humble? Like where how do you do that?
So it all stems from my mission. Like I know why I was put on this earth, outside of the great call of like being a Christian. But above all else, like I know I'm called to encourage people. So for me, I don't mind being the vehicle of doing that, especially when I've seen fruit from it. Had I not seen fruit, had I not experienced God's grace in the process, I'll be a little washed up. I'll be a little bit burnt out because it's like you're constantly toiling and you're not seeing anything reap. But I mean, I
Yeah.
go screenshot DMs on the daily of
Yeah.
hearing people like what God is doing. That is fuel for my fire because I never want this to be the YB show. Like, no matter how cool you are, eventually that well's gonna dry up. So when I hear stories about like, hey, pray for my mom, I'm the only believer in the house.
Mm.
Like I'm quoting one from today. Like I went to this event and now I'm a believer, but like with all of this pressure, like it's hard for me to stand up. So seeing
Yeah.
that lets me know like God is telling me keep driving the vehicle, keep being faithful. I'm not in charge of numbers or views or streams, but as long as
Mm.
I'm able to put these and help expand this kingdom, oh, I'm showing up.
Yeah, that's
Pastor
awesome.
here. What's up, Pastor Rick?
That's cool. That's cool. Um, yeah, so can you talk about when do you think, you know, when does regular content creation cross the threshold from giving opportunities to connect, like what you're talking about, and then just being desperate for attention? Like,
I think it all goes back to who you are. Like I didn't grow up Christian. So I know what like literally I know what that looks like. I know that whole life. So
mm-hmm.
for me, it's just like high fiving middle schoolers. Like Kristen, like I
Yeah.
love that. I was a student. For those that didn't know, I was a student pastor for 2 years. So really walking with students and seeing those breakthroughs, for me, I can cling to that. For somebody else that maybe you're low key chasing clout, you're low key chasing numbers. I tell you this: I don't care how good you think you are at playing that game, you're gonna get tired, and
Mm,
isn't gonna sustain. So
that's good.
not true to yourself, that well is going to dry up.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's hard because I feel like so much of the internet, and I think even again, feel free to disagree, or people that are in here, you guys are free to disagree as well or give comments. But like it seems like a lot of the church these days, at least in America, plays a lot of keep up, you know, is about, yeah, you can absolutely ask questions, Carter. Like, but you know, like it feels like there's a lot of it where people are just chasing what other people are doing, that kind of
Yeah.
style, that kind of graphic. You know, I made fun of it earlier, but you know, when this COVID stuff hit and it was like churches went online, it was like half the churches just did their normal thing and the other half churches started making these living room sets. And then the
Yeah.
week after, everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, you got to create a generic living room to shoot our service," you know. And
Yeah.
I feel like for me, there's a bit of that I'm just like, "Come on, guys, like really?" like,
Yeah.
and so like, you know, like I love what you're talking about, like knowing our purpose, and so what would you say to people of like, you know, I think if all of us took a moment to self-reflect, there's probably something in all of us where we're like, you know, we forget our purpose once we're scrolling through the internet a little bit. Like
Yeah.
how do you refocus? How do you keep the
Oh,
main thing the main thing?
This one is easy, man. I'm married, and I have a wife that does not care about telling me the truth.
That's awesome.
No, but like even when we first started out doing all of this, I'm not perfect. Like there's ideas I come up, they are like straight up all about me, and my wife will call me out on it. My team will call me out on it. So one, having a great community around you of people that don't care about who you are on social media, like they don't care about YB, like they know me. So they're like, bro, I don't think that's a good idea. Like I think that's you. I don't think that's God. So
Mm.
for me, I have literally like I wouldn't say barriers, but pipelines of how we publish stuff. So it's just
Hmm.
not me saying, "Oh, I think this is a great idea," and then putting it online. It's like, "Hey, I'm thinking this," and I filter it through my team. And if it comes out on the other end, then there's a great chance it's a reasonable idea. So, but
Yeah.
for me, the answer to that is like, of course, staying in the Word, of course, having your biblical community. But as far as a creative, my greatest partner is my wife. Like I run everything through her, and I typically go off of her first response. If I say, "Hey, babe, I'm thinking of doing this," she's like, "Oh, that's yeah, I love that." Boom, that's a green light. Or I say, "Babe, I'm thinking about doing this," and no, babe, I don't think this time. Like typically, her first response is literally what I'm gonna go with.
That's cool. I just funny side story is that your wife is Vietnamese,
Yes,
correct? And
yes,
remember our week in Ohio? You kept bringing up Vietnamese food, and I was like, "Why do you keep talking about that to me? Like, I'm not Vietnamese." And then, like, I didn't even realize until the end of the week. I was like, "Oh, his wife's Vietnamese."
yeah,
And it was amazing. But
yeah,
she sounds like an awesome woman. So, and I think that that's so true. Like, all of us need people in our lives that will tell us the truth, and keep our pride in check. Like, not just I think we talk about accountability as believers for like things like like struggling with addiction or whatever, but it's like it's great to have accountability for things like your pride, like
yeah,
people friends that'll be like, hey, guess what, you're just really full of yourself right now, and you need to stop.
yeah.
So can you talk about I think at the end of the day, there's some goodness underneath everything in the internet in terms of we're all looking for connection.
Yeah.
So how do you practically cultivate that authentic connection through your social media platforms? Because I see your posts and see all that posts about the soldiers, and the people love you, and they DM you things that are real about their lives. So like, how have you, I guess, fostered that? What are some practical things you do?
So a little bit going back to how I'm wired. I grew up without a father. So one, community and relationships, all of that stuff is high on my list.
Hmm.
So when we started this journey of God Still Has Soldiers in 2014, it was something God gave to me, and I was like, okay, let's just do it. And we figured out along the way. But because God has kind of gave proof that He's in it, that's been my encouragement. Like I go back to the DMs, I go back to when I'm on live and I see certain names and I can call them out. Not just like, oh, hey, user 1873, but I
Yeah.
know Ben, I know Tanner, I know John. Like me
Mm.
actually knowing these people. Now, granted, I'm not FaceTiming everybody, but there is an investment in the relationship, not just because they play my music, but like I'm praying for their parents. They're like, it's
Yeah.
like the relational equity has kept me charged to continue to run that race versus if it was just a one-way street. Like, hey, okay, I'm finna get ready to drop an album. Now I need to message all of my soldiers. I don't operate like that. Or I'm finna
Yeah.
do a video. Now I need all of this attention. Like, no,
Mm.
I how I engage is when I'm literally just sitting on the couch and drinking coffee. I don't have nothing going on. I'm still like in my DMs.
That's good. I think what I'm hearing you say is like we can't use the internet or like to really cultivate connection. You have that has to be your goal. Like you can't just do it so that for this side hustle of like so that I have more followers, so I'll
Right?
be more popular, so people will like my page and like my stuff more, but like to genuinely care. And I think that that's so evident in what you do and who you
Yeah.
are, that you like really care about people. Um, what advice would you give to people about creating quality content? I feel like there's so many creative people that are, like just looking for ideas when you in your kind of like practical, you're sitting down, you're thinking about making a post, whatever, like what are some of the things you think through?
So well, at this point, it's kind of like cruise control, like it's second nature. But when we first started, I would always look in, like, who am I? What do I do? How? because at the end of the day, I want to give people me. Like I want to be authentic. I don't want to.
Mhm.
Like, oh man, YB's last post look a lot like Lecrae's. You know, people me. You know what I'm saying? So when I do my prayer posts, like that's something that I do in real life, or like this video I just posted promoting our online concert, like how
Yeah,
goofy
I
is
saw
that
that. That's so
video.
cool.
That's me. Like I'm actually goofy. So if I would say for people that's trying to create quality content, start with you. Like take you and then put yourself in that content. If you're loud and you always got people laughing, some of your posts should include yellow or highlight or orange or some of these things that reflect you and your personality. So for me, that's always been my process. Is okay. Who am I? What are some things that literally get me going? I love movies, so when we do album promos or trailers, you'll see a lot of my stuff looks cinematic. Well, that's
Mhm.
something that I truly care about. So when I create outside of honoring God and outside of trying to do something excellent, I look at, okay, how can I put a piece of me into what I'm creating?
Yeah, I think that's great. Like, because one of the things that I learned about you, when we were in that stuffy van, was that you're a rapper, but you were first like a graphic artist,
Yeah,
right? Like,
yeah.
so, and did you go to school for that? I forget.
So that's what I have my degree in. I have a AA in multimedia technology, so photography, videography,
Yeah.
graphics.
Yeah, that's super cool because your stuff is so like it's freaking dope. So, okay, so before my last fun question, one more question for you is what warnings would you give believers about creating content during the coronavirus?
One, can we all just give a hand to Christine? Like you have these questions nailed out, articulate, like to the T. Salute. Good job.
Thanks, bro.
Yes. Now, which I like this. This is a really good question. What would be some warnings? I saw a post from one of my kind of like spiritual leaders, somebody I really look up to. His name is Turner.
Mm.
I gave his whole government name, but he told me, he said, guys, this is a real spiritual warfare. So be intentional about being hope and encouraging and not noise. And
Mm.
that, wow, because right now it is easier than ever to you to, like I said, get into this traffic and start honking your horns.
Yeah.
Anybody who lives in Florida, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Like, oh, I want to, even for me, like, I want to launch a podcast. So I want to start dropping vlogs every day. Like, you got to
Hmm.
think about like people, be considerate. Like, do they need to see 9 more hours of you? Probably not. I'm being honest, even for me, do I need to drop a vlog every day? Probably not. Like
That's
the point is
amazing.
like, don't be noise right now. If anything, this is a great time for us to. You always want to wake up at 6 a.m. to do that quiet time. This is the time. So
Mm.
more than anything, if you want to get noisy, let it be in worship as you're crying out to God. I mean,
Oh, you can say that. Uh,
so
what's the filter like as you're talking about don't be noise? Like, how do you define that? Like, how do you know when you're
nothing
starting
has purpose. When you're just throwing stuff at the wall, hoping that something sticks. If it's
Mm,
purpose driven, there's a great chance it's not going to be noise, because a
mm.
lot of times that's coming from a conviction. But if
Yeah,
you just trying to get busy and you're just hoping that something sticks so that you can build up followers or get known or just to be heard, then a lot of times that's noise.
dude, that's good. That's real good. I love that. YB, you're a freaking genius, bro. And you're
Oh
cool.
no, man.
So, okay, last question that I've been asking everybody that I've been doing this with. What are three, well, you said you love movies or shows that you would recommend people watch during quarantine?
Oh my gosh. Okay. I don't know about you guys, but I love This Is Us. That's top.
Did you finish the season
I
finale?
did. I did. I'm a little upset, but
Me too. I felt so many feelings. So many
man,
feelings.
that sucked. But This Is Us, top dog. What? Me and my wife, we watch our shows together, so I'm like filtering through, like, what do we? So we got This Is Us, and we're watching Full House. We went back and we're gonna watch all.
Oh, nice.
So we got one and two, and then the last one. What would I say?
Those are both shows. What about a movie?
Yeah, I'll give you guys a movie. What? I just watched it. I've been on YouTube movies, like the free ones with.
YouTube movies.
Yes,
Oh.
See. Uh,
Okay.
I'm trying to think of this movie. Oh, Stolen. It's a really good movie. It's Nicolas
Stolen.
Cage. Now, granted, it is very old because it's YouTube and it's free with ads. But if you like action movies, Stolen with Nicolas Cage on YouTube,
You're
phenomenal.
recommending a Nick Cage movie. That's a vibe.
Yeah. I don't even know his track record. So if it's bad, forgive me later.
That's amazing. That's so funny. Well, thank you so much for hanging out with me a little bit tonight, YB. I hope that we get to connect sometime over the summer. But
Right.
regardless, you the man.
Hey, Christine, thank you so much for the opportunity.
Peace out, bro. Talk to you later. Bye.